After you load the crankshaft, you want to rotate the chuck, these two arrows on S to set the stroke. So you're going to set the stroke per the crankshaft on this scale by loosening this and moving this up and down. So that's set with it still on S. Okay, so you're going to now rotate the chuck backwards to line up the D. So now you're going to set up the crankshaft on the D with this setting gauge. So you're going to measure the journal, and then you're going to set the gauge to the size of the journal. So then you're going to set this gauge underneath this journal and rotate the crank against it with it still in position D, and then lock these knobs. So now we're going to set the other switches with the parameters that they show in this paper. There's different ones for different types of wire and flux and different crankshafts. So we're going to set the wire speed here on this knob, which changes this. This is the line switch, which turns the main power on to the machine. This is the power when you're getting ready to weld, which will energize the tip. This is to turn the wire on, so the wire feeds down to the crank. The rotate would be for the crankshaft to turn. The step over is going to be how much the tip moves over on each revolution. This you will go left or right depending upon which way you want it to step over. The pump switch is for the pump for the flux, which pumps the flux from the bottom up to the hopper, and they keep cycling it that way. Power boost is for different types of, if you need extra power when you're welding. Rotation speed would be the crankshaft rotation, which you set, which all of these get set by the paper that you had. The rapid switch is if you want to rotate it rapidly to set it up. The torch vertical is the same as step over, except if you're going to weld a thrust, then it would go up instead of sideways. It would be fuses. This would be the voltage setting 1 through 5. You would set this voltage also from the paper that they give you. This is to adjust the air pressure for the flux pump. These lights would tell you that the valve is on and that it is going up to the pot. This scale will tell you what the rotation speed is, which you change by turning the rotation speed switch. So the voltage gauge is you will want to set with the voltage switch. Again, they'll tell you in the setup sheet where the voltage should be. The amperage is going to tell you what the amperage is when it's welding. These LEDs are going to light up. See, the power boost switch is on right now, so you would have it on. It will tell you every time it comes at 360 degrees that it's stepping over. That light will light up. The one that, depending on whether it's going right or left or up or down, will turn on at the same time. Now we're going to set up where to point the wire at with this magnetic gauge. So you're going to hit this right here, which is going to center punch a mark on the journal with this set at 20 degrees. Okay, so there's your center punch mark, which we're going to point the wire at now. Right here, we're going to move the torch down so the wire's pointed at that. So we're going to make sure that the wire is pointed at the center punch mark that you did before. You can adjust the in and out by this knob right here. You'll have to move it left and right by your step over switch again. And it needs to be in position D again when you're setting this up. Now you're going to want to point the wire at the center of the radius by moving the step over switch left or right. So now we're going to pull the wire back up away from the journal, so when you start welding that it starts rotating before the weld hits. Then you're going to position the flux tube so that it is going to cover the wire while it's while it's welding to keep the impurities out of it. So now you're ready to weld.